And so you got to. Hi, I'm David with EV World News. We're talking about electric vehicles, green energy, and the stock markets. And I'm back today on a Friday with our founder and chief editor, Bill Moore. How's it going today, Bill?
Bill the baker. I've been baking this morning. Bread. I'm working on cinnamon rolls.
Well,
and a little bit of EV World stuff while I'm at it.
Yeah. So if anybody gets it in the chat, I'm trying to do my best impression of Mikhail Gorbachev today. So if you get my reference, just put it in the chat. Anyways, let's start out today. We're going to talk about gas prices. So gas has gotten up now to about $4 a gallon.
Like I care.
Average price, yeah, 20% increase. This has caused a 20% increase in online EV searches globally from London to Manila.
Yep.
Yeah, it's really kind of wild how that is. A wave of affordable used EVs from expiring leases could accelerate adoption in the coming months. Long-term growth still depends on stable policies and incentives. The gas price bump alone won't sustain momentum without infrastructure support. And we got Owen. Owen loves his donut battery. Yes.
Yeah, we need those donut. Well, they keep. There's a guy that has a channel. God, what's the name of that thing? It's kind of a strange name for a channel, but he's apparently been tested. I saw a video today of his 5th test of the donut battery. So you might want to, if you're, and you might be familiar with this guy, but he's kind of his thing. He's testing those batteries out, see if they're legit. By the way, they are a solid state battery. We're going to talk a little bit later about sodium ion batteries. Not the same thing, but the donut battery looks promising.
Yeah.
Yep, 2-bit. That's it. 2-bit Da Vinci.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's so many different battery chemistries. I get people all the time to start throwing solid state in there when they're talking about a battery chemistry, and it's like, yeah, don't really.
Oh, this is like, how many toppings are there to pizza?
Right.
It's like batteries. How many toppings can you put between? Batteries are a calzone, right?
Yeah.
You know what the top and the bottom are, but God only knows what's in between that.
Yeah, it's pretty similar to that. Okay. So sodium ion batteries are hitting the road in China. Changan, their Nevo A06 is the first mass-produced EV with a sodium ion battery. Changan really went all out. They're competing with Toyota for like naming their vehicles. The Nevo A06.
A06, yep.
Yeah, is the first mass-produced EV with a sodium ion battery made by CATL. It's a 400-kilometer range. That's about 250 miles for, us freedom-loving Americans. And it's got about 170 watt hours per kilogram density.
So it's not up in the league with the more advanced lithium batteries. But here's the advantage: they can take hot and cold temperatures. They will retain pretty much most of their charge capacity down to minus 20 degrees centigrade, which is crazy. I mean, once here with my Volt, I saw a dramatic drop. Summertime, I can get typically around 5 miles per kilowatt. Hey, wintertime, when it was really cold here, that thing dropped below 3, and it was down to around, I think, got around 2.4, something like that, miles per kilowatt.
Yes.
And the sodium battery supposedly will keep all that range and fast charge in like 11 minutes, something like that.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's see. So BAIC has a battery called the Aurora prototype.
Yep.
Operates from negative 40 Celsius to plus 60 Celsius. Boy,
yep.
I don't know what that is, but that sounds hot.
Yeah, that's well over 120 degrees, something like that.
Retains 92% capacity at negative 20 and charges to 80% in 11 minutes.
Oh, yeah, that's Aurora. Yeah.
Yeah, that's impressive. could undercut LFP batteries by 15 to 30% in cost. Perfect for city cars, delivery fleets, and cold weather markets.
Yep,
And
they're
of course,
not a long range battery.
right, because of the reduced
energy density. Yeah,
energy density. Right. Well, I know the East Group makes sodium ion 12-volt batteries. So they produce the first 12-volt battery. And let's see. Oh, getting these out of order. Heat pumps still need resistive heat to work and really cold temps. That kills your range as well. But anyways, this was kind of interesting about the sodium ion battery, because we're always talking about different chemistries. But one of the things, when it says that the battery can charge to 80% in 11 minutes, but what does that really mean? I mean, because
it means you got to have a lot of power behind that plug.
Yeah. So are we talking about a megawatt charger to do that? I mean,
probably.
Yeah. So it's capable of accepting that. I've had people trying to show me why a hemp graphene aluminum battery will replace all these other battery chemistries, and there's been some reasonable research done on it, but it can charge 50 times faster than traditional lithium ion. But once again, you have to have a system that's set up to discharge power that fast. Yeah. So you still have to have enough. Just because you attach a fire hose size hose to your house doesn't mean that your house can pump out enough water. It's still
exactly. Do you have a direct pump to the city large main?
Right. Yeah, there's a reason you have fire hydrants, is because they can pump a lot of water into that fire hose, whereas your garden hose connection can only pump a little bit of water.
Yeah, you can't if you're in the middle of a wildfire kind of a thing. Wetting your roof with your garden hose isn't going to help you a lot. Now, if you had a hose to that fire hydrant down the street, yeah, that would help a lot. But generally not, particularly if you've got a cedar shake roof or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, tear it up. All right.
Which I've never understood. If you look at sorry to jump in. If you look at Europe, almost all of the houses use clay tile roofs, right? Why did we not do that here?
Other than Florida?
Do they do it in Florida? Well, good for them if they do.
I mean, they call them
not here.
They call them 100-year roofs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen them in St. Louis too. So I've seen them other places. You don't. They're sort of, roofing is sort of a regional thing to a degree.
Yeah, it is very much.
You'll see basic flat shingles in some places. You'll see architectural style shingles in some places. You will see the cedar shakes in some places. You'll see the I forget what you call the 100-year roofs, but they're clay. So there's a lot of different designs that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Florida, you have to use block walls instead of it's not cardboard, but you have to use the block walls just because of hurricanes. All right. Now, I keep getting more articles about Lucid and Rivian, like who's going to survive. Like it can only be one of the two somehow. And I keep seeing them kind of pitted against each other, but they're not really, are they?
Not really, no.
Maybe a Rivian buyer would be a prospective Lucid buyer, though. They are both in that same price range. But I've got some arguments from Motley Fool. I almost said Motley Fuel. Yeah. I have a friend who's manufacturing cement blocks that are actually 80% recycled styrofoam, and they are stronger than basic blocks. Just has to do with other aggregates in the mix.
Yeah, I would think if you fill those voids with, concrete, you've got to effectively. I mean, when you look at the, what's that technology that uses? There's a technology that uses sort of a foam, and you stack these blocks up, and then you just put rebar down the middle of the center core, and then you pour concrete, and effectively you've got a home that's concrete, but also has a high insulation value.
Well, that's how we pour basements here in Nebraska.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you put the two styrofoam sheets on each side, and
Right.
then you pour the concrete right down between the two sheets, and then you
Yep.
remove the sheets. Now, in the design I'm talking about, they have the concrete, and then the inside just has a little hole in it, as opposed to the normal big open area
Right.
that cinder
Right.
block has.
Cavity. Right.
And so the amount of pour of concrete that you pour in with the rebar is
minimal.
80% less. So it really
Yeah.
cuts down on the amount of concrete that's used. So it's really quite effective. Yeah, and in this particular case, it provides R40 insulation, which is a ridiculous high level of insulation. Yeah. Anyways, and the funny thing is, they built 10,000 homes back to where Owen is. So there's a lot of these block homes built in Phoenix. They moved the operation from there to New Orleans. So
okay.
Anyways,
now, back to EVs.
Yeah, back to EVs. I mean, that is a
my fault.
It is a recycling issue, right? Styrofoam is right. There's a lot of countries who are trying to outlaw styrofoam because that's such a problem, and that's it's just one of those things that's used so much because it's very useful. Anyways, Rivian secured $1.5 million or $1.5 billion from Uber for 10,000 R2s for self-driving for a robotaxi fleet. That R2 is going to start at about $60,000. Lucid had Q4 revenue jump 122% to $522 million on the success of the Gravity SUV, but operating losses rose 45% to $1 billion.
Yeah, but how long did it take for Tesla to make a profit?
Probably the Model 3. I think it was when the Model 3 started rolling out. But the Model 3 put up serious numbers right off the bat. And these other companies haven't done that yet. Rivian has clear path to profitability through software and services businesses. That was 35% of their Q4 revenue. So that's interesting. So now they're not just a car company anymore, right? So they're starting to do something. While Ford, at the same time, Ford canceled their F-150 Lightning, and Cybertruck sales dropped 48%. Now, what's interesting about this is, we were talking about the searches online for EVs. The Tesla searches, especially for the Model Y, more than doubled. And so, it's a lot of people realize that there's a reason why the Model Y is so popular.
Yeah. I've talked about this, I think, before, but there's a little route I take, a 1.5 mile route around my neighborhood that I try to walk pretty much every day. And I will guarantee you that somewhere in that square, or rectangle more like, I will see at least one Tesla. Just that half-hour walk, I will see at least one Tesla, possibly two. That I've seen of Mustangs and Rivians and things like that. So yeah, they're coming on, and that's exciting for me to see finally.
It is funny though, like if I'm in LA and I take a walk, I see literally hundreds of EVs.
That's like Seattle. When I go to Seattle, they're everywhere.
Yeah, it's like, you'll see a dozen Teslas driving as a herd down the streets. And there'll be a solo Cybertruck and an S and an X, and then like 10 Ys. Maybe a 3 in there. But so Tesla has some updates. The Model Y Juniper refresh now delivering with refined suspension, acoustic glass, ambient lighting, and rear entertainment screen. Full self-driving version 13 is a game changer, but requires AI4 hardware 4. Older hardware 3 vehicles getting optimized version 12 branches, creating a performance gap. So apparently there's a newer version of hardware people may want. A software update.
Is that, by the way, is that just simply like you take it into your local Tesla dealer shop, whatever, and they pull that module out and they put the new module in. Is it simple as that, or is it more complicated than that? I
I'm
don't know.
suspecting. I'm not suspecting that is something. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you can.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here thinking maybe it needs a car upgrade as opposed to
Yeah, probably.
like most brands, like traditional cars, right? Um, software update. Most recent software update adds comfort braking that smooths final deceleration at red lights for more human-like stops. um, that one's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I use my one pedal driving all the time, and very seldom ever, have to actually use the brake if you just time it right. And I assume that there's got to be a connection between the cruise control in the car and the one-step braking, because it'll stop me, unless I've got a bit of speed. So I'm very pleased with how smooth. I've heard comments about people saying, "Well, it's kind of jerky," but not really. Not with the Chevrolet Bolt that I have. It's very smooth.
Yeah. Hey, thanks, Jason. We appreciate that info. He says you can't switch it. The hardware
Thanks.
3 Teslas are stuck on hardware 3, and the same with the cameras. Okay.
Okay.
Appreciate that.
Good.
All right. So Bank of America is suggesting that Tesla stock can shoot up to 460, which would be almost $100 upgrade. I didn't notice what it is on the stock ticker today, but everything is red today, all across the board.
I wonder why.
363. So Bank of America is saying this. They're citing leadership in auto 2.0 landscape and robotaxi scalability. Tesla has 1.1 million full self-driving subscriptions, which is only 12% of the fleet of Teslas out there, with goal of 10 million subscriptions tied to Musk's compensation package. Tesla sales dropped to 1.63 million in 25, down from 1.79 million in 24, losing the global #1 spot to BYD's 2.25 million. Now, BYD also sold a couple million plug-in hybrids too. So that wasn't all of what BYD sold. All right, let's see here. EV charging infrastructure, what's working and what's not. Fast charging ports expanded significantly in 25, improving coverage along major corridors and metro areas. Focus is moving away from how many chargers to how reliable they are. Uptime and payment consistency now are the critical metrics. Yep. Rural gaps, multi-unit housing access, and pricing transparency remains major challenges. And I've mentioned this before, that there are multifamily solutions. And Bill and I were talking about this. I got a project that just got green-lighted in Florida where we're going to build 180 units. We're going to put in 360 solar canopy parking space. So it's going to have carports. So it's going to have 360 carports where the roof of all of those carports are all going to be solar. It's going to produce about 1.5 megawatt hours of electricity. We'll have battery backups for that. Some of the units, probably a fourth of the units, will be some type of furnished corporate housing. And since we have a large government contractor moving in beside our property, and anyway,
we won't say who.
We won't say who. We'll skip it. We'll just skip it for this conversation.
Just skip it.
Yeah, we have a large government organization that needs housing for 1,200 workers moving in beside our facility. And anyways, so we'll at least, we'd be providing electricity for those units anyways. My partner says, if nothing else, we'll mine Bitcoin. Yeah, but we'll provide free, at least free level 1, possibly some free level 2 chargers, maybe there as well. But absolutely, we do free level 1 charging.
Oh yeah, that's a given.
Yeah, I mean, that's so cheap. It's such a cheap amenity. I mean, really, worst case, if you're providing free level 1 charging, that's like $20 in credit, and it's getting people to stay, live in your facility rather than somewhere else.
Well, when here, just an example, here in Omaha, when they built the National Park Service headquarters for this region of the country. They put in level 1 chargers. You can go out to the parking lot there and you can see these little outdoor, 110, 120 volt, chargers with a cover on them like you typically see on the side of a house.
Right.
But if you're sitting there, you're driving 20 miles to work and 20 miles back home, you'll get that in an 10-hour day, no problem.
Yeah, level 1, just plug it into. Yeah, but still, if I can give somebody that lives there, when they're off duty, 12 hours a day, I mean, that's 40 to, well, let's just say at least 40 miles of range they pick up every day. And to be fair, our facility from the government facility is only a few blocks. It's actually really close. It's actually right next to our property, but the road doesn't go that way.
No. Okay.
The road runs a different direction.
So you provide them a bike path between you and the thing.
That'd be a possibility.
And what you might think about doing is while you're at it, thinking about putting in some bicycle storage cages, right? Because you could get at a 1-car parking spot, you can get 10, 15 bikes. And if half of those bikes or a quarter of those bikes are electric, have a little plug there, and they can charge up their electric bikes.
Yeah, that would be a good idea too. Anyways, yeah. So but I'm just saying, they talk about the multi-unit. So but this is new construction, right? So when we're doing the new construction, we can think about this. We're going to have we're having an entire commercial manufacturing hub. The entire commercial manufacturing hub, we're going to put rooftop solar across all the buildings. We have 100 acres. We're going to put solar canopies for all the parking, and we'll produce. Now, mind you, if we were strictly doing a solar farm, we could, with that 100 acres, we could do almost 20 megawatts. We're going to we'll get about 12 in this method. So we'll get about 12, but it's a significant value boost. And when I've done the economics, our ROI is incredible. I'm not going to say what it is on here.
Right. No, don't.
Really, regardless. And it's funny too, because as I'm doing my calculations, I use AI for a lot of things. AI keeps saying, "Hey, there's a 30% tax credit through July 4th," and it's like, whether we get it or not, the return is fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay. But a lot of that is because we're going to assemble this equipment and install the equipment ourselves, our own crews, everything. So our cost per watt is much lower than normal. But I'm just sitting thinking that we could probably sell this to other apartment complexes for about $2.50 a watt, which that's far cheaper. The going rate right now for residential solar is $4.50 a watt.
Yeah.
So it's a significant change. But but that, once again, that addresses and that significantly promotes the use of e-bikes, electric cars, all that, in that area, by making it easy to do that. My biddy is making
my buddy,
yeah, buddy. That's okay. Hey, we're not all good at typing.
No, neither am I.
And we don't know. Owen could be watching from his phone for all we know. That makes it even worse. All right, nuclear power getting global momentum. China, Brazil, Italy, Belgium joined the tripling pledge. 4 major economies joined 34 others in a pledge to triple nuclear energy capacity by 2050, targeting 1,200 plus gigawatts hours of nuclear as an increase. Now, that's by 2050. And that is, we're what, 26? That's, say, over the next 24, 25 years.
Yeah.
That'd be 1,200. We're currently adding about 350 gigawatts of solar every year. So that would only be the equivalent of 3 to 4 years of solar at the current rate of how fast solar is growing.
It is the fastest growing form of new energy generation for at least the last several years, and particularly last year.
Now, the big difference is, so solar is wonderful, and then it's relatively inexpensive. It's clean. It solves a lot of issues. What it is not is it is not constant 24/7 power. And
No.
even though
But
on the project I'm talking about, we'll put in massive battery packs. We
uh-huh.
already, and like I said, we already have our commercial facility had a steel mill at the location, so we know we have great electrical infrastructure as it is. Um, it's still, we can't count on 24/7 power there. Although that site is so small, we probably would never do nuclear there. But much of this nuclear is designed for fail-safe systems that absolutely can't go down.
Yeah.
And that's the nature of large language models. They can't take a power outage. It causes real problems if they have power go out. But some of these countries are as diverse as Morocco and South Korea. It's interesting. 4 major economies, the article said. I wouldn't have guessed as Italy and
Morocco
Belgium.
is a
Well, no, but they were saying China, Brazil, Italy, Belgium. Well, China's a big, a
right.
major economy. Brazil is
Yeah.
a big
Yeah.
country. It has a major economy.
Yeah.
Italy and Belgium, to be fair, Italy's economy may be as big as Brazil's. Okay.
Yeah, it'd be interesting we should ask AI who's
Yeah.
bigger.
Yeah. But
I wouldn't think Belgium. I mean, Belgium would be a surprise to me. Italy, I could see, but Belgium.
you never
Not
know.
to knock the Belgium. I mean, they gave us Hercule Poirot, so it's possible.
Let's see.
That's an allusion to a famous mystery writer.
Oh, okay. Data centers will consume the power equivalent of 25% of American homes by 28. So in 2 years, data centers will be consuming the power of 25% of American homes. That is really a big stat. Big stat. Let's see. We talked about Xiaomi already. Oh, the White House has declined Musk's offer to pay the TSA workers.
Yeah. Well, they by the way, they at 2:00 in the morning this morning they reached. I think the Senate, I believe, passed a bill to provide funding for TSA and for FEMA and things like that, with the proviso that they would leave open, I guess, to negotiation whether to provide funding for this bloated ICE organization with the kinds of corruption that's been going on there. So why they don't need it? They don't need. Elon's had enough of an impact on our government. Thank you. Go play with your AI robot, Elon.
Yeah. Well, Musk is facing some additional scrutiny over the Mississippi power plant affecting residents' quality of life and his Terafab chip manufacturing project. The thing is, he's done a couple things in Memphis and northern Mississippi, which is basically Memphis suburbs.
Right.
And there's been a lot of pushback because he brought in his own gas turbines. They were fully permitted. He got permission from the local governments to do this. But, some of the residents now are upset that that's there.
Apparently they're pretty noisy, I think is the complaint.
Oh, are they noisy too? Well, I don't know about that. I just know that, it's not great for the, air pollution situation.
Yeah.
But,
well, if they're gas turbines, it'd be natural gas. So I would think would burn fairly cleanly. You're going to get nitrogen oxide emissions off of it, and then obviously CO2. So don't know.
All right. So Ford, they're shutting down so much EV infrastructure here in the U.S., right?
However,
they
across the pond.
Yeah, this is just insane. I just
picture that car.
Crazy.
Good looking.
Yeah, this is
the yellow one.
The Ford Capri.
Yep.
Yeah. So they made their European EVs better while hinting at a bigger strategy shift. Major upgrades for the standard range versions of its fully electric Explorer. They've had an Explorer there for a few years, and the Capri, meaning meaningful changes to the powertrain, a new battery option, a more powerful electric motor. Ford and Renault announced a strategic partnership on December 9th of last year, covering passenger cars and light commercial vehicles, with a clear focus on affordable electric models for Europe. And begins with with the development of 2 electric passenger cars wearing Ford badges based on Renault's Ampere platform. The announcement brought back memories of Ford's earlier cooperation with Volkswagen. Gee, what is up with that? I mean,
that's a good. Why can't you bring that here? Why And the reason is because Americans don't want to buy EVs yet. This could change given what's happening with the conflict in the Straits of Hormuz.
With so many people owning, the Ford Explorer has been such an iconic product for Ford. You would think there would be a lot of people who would have switched
want it, yeah,
to an electric version of that, and they keep wanting to make something different. I always thought, and they've done okay with the Mach-E. They haven't done great, but they've done okay. But it seemed like a slam to the Ford Mustang. Okay, because it's not the same vehicle.
Yeah.
If they made just a Ford Mustang that was electric, that would have been a different story.
So why not just bring the Capri back here?
That would kind of make sense too.
Yeah.
But
there's the Explorer.
There's an electric Explorer. Yeah, it's just silly. It just seems so silly that they're doing this in Europe, yet we don't have this here in the United States. It remains to be seen whether the increased range and performance will translate into stronger demand for these battery electric models built on Volkswagen's electric architecture, where the Ford will prefer to wait and see what the Ford-Renault collaboration delivers in the coming years. Ford is not standing still, is clearly signaling its ambition to remain a relevant player in Europe's rapidly evolving electric vehicle race. It just seems so weird. Owen, I'd agree with you on that, but Ford doesn't want to be in the inexpensive car market.
Yep.
They're just
no profit margin.
Yeah, they said even in the gas versions they weren't making money on those vehicles because they couldn't compete with the Japanese on that. So they make their money on big trucks and SUVs.
Yep.
All right, Kia's most affordable EV enters production, is now available to order. I'm betting this isn't available in the US either.
No.
The EV2 is now rolling off production lines at Kia's plant in Slovakia ahead of customer deliveries next month. They opened up initial orders at lower price than expected. Let's see.
Hey, your friend Oklo's up.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, $52. I mean, crap, they were at 193 at the end of last year. Now that BWXT is one we talked about with Mike, because they're the ones that make the reactors for submarines and aircraft carriers.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, and there's some good stuff going on with them. The EV2 starts at $30,500. And in Germany, they're offering leases as low as $275 US per month.
Wow.
There's 4 variations: the light, the air, the earth. And you'd think the other one would be water or fire, but it's a GT.
GT, of course. Grand Touring.
GT line. If they're going to have light, air, earth, to me, fire and water would be the other models. But anyways, it's the GT line. Buyers can choose from 2 battery packs, a 42 kilowatt or a 61 kilowatt hour, which Kia expects will provide about anywhere from 197 on the low end and 281 on the larger. Still, for a $30,000 EV for Europe, that's a pretty good deal. It's using the 400 volt architecture rather than an 800 volt. Let's see. But it can still recharge 10 to 80% in about 30 minutes using a 118 kilowatt DC fast charger. Let's see. Yeah, so anyways, another vehicle is not coming to the United States. There's a class action lawsuit against all American air conditioning manufacturers for market manipulation since 2020. Car makers are also suspect. Are we talking about the change in the type of Freon, or because I think Honeywell owns all the patents on Freon or somebody like that. I'm just kind of wondering what that might be about. Anyways, Bill, we're trying to cut the show a little shorter.
Yes. Did we talk about the sodium ion yet?
We did.
Oh, we did. Okay.
We did that right off the bat.
No, shows.
Price.
Like I said,
okay.
I'm elsewhere at the moment.
Yeah. Well, nobody in the chat picked up on the Mikhail Gorbachev thing. So, anyways.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, anyways, folks.
Well, okay. Explain.
Oh no, I'll tell you off the air.
Okay, tell me off the air. All right.
Anyways, folks, I want to thank everybody for watching. I'll be back with Bill on Tuesday. Otherwise, have a great weekend.
And maybe Bill will be a little sharper at that point.
Maybe. Oh, yeah.